Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making our last soup before Thanksgiving, and this is going to be a lasagna soup. It's going to be a little bit different and I'll show you why in a few minutes. But we're going to start out with our ground beef, and this is over a pound here, but I'm not using all of this, probably half. We have a jar of marinara sauce. Now this could be crushed tomatoes also. Just a little bit of better than bouillon beef. 1 can of diced tomatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of cottage cheese to this. You don't have to use that. You could just use ricotta if you want. I'm going to use the ricotta at the end for a little bit more of a cheese topping. And then I have an Italian seasoning. You can use any Italian seasoning mix, or you can mix your own. This is just something I have on hand and it's convenient. But this is a Parmesan and herb from Sam's Club, and it is delicious. Now, the different thing here is I'm going to be using a pre-made tortellini. This could be a cheese tortellini, and that is delicious in this. We've ate it like that as well. And it might sound weird to combine chicken and beef, but it is delicious. So we're going to use some of this, not all. It's a big package. It's 1.25 pounds. So we're not using all that. I'm going to save a little bit of it for another recipe. Now I was going to show you, you can also use other things like this. It's a dried type of pasta with the mushroom inside of it. This is the ravioli. You can get stuff like that. Change it up. These add a little bit of a different texture to your lasagna soup and more dimensions. So you can go with the traditional way of using it as well, or making it. You can use your lasagna sheets and just break them up in your soup. So you can do that if you want to, but give this a try, please. It's really good. So we're going to go ahead and work on our ground beef and get it cooked up, and then I will be back. Okay, I've changed my mind. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and add all of this beef into the soup and make a little bit more soup than what I had planned on, because I just realized I'm going to be spending a lot of time cooking for the next 2 days. If we can have some leftovers to feed us instead of me having to cook along with the Thanksgiving cooking preparations, let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the extra grease out of this. Now this was a grass-fed, grass-finished beef that we bought from a farmer, and it's pretty lean, so I don't have a whole lot to soak up here. But this is how sometimes I will go ahead and get the grease out of my hamburger meat. So I'm going to press as much of this out as I can, and then we're going to move on to making the soup. Okay, now we go ahead and get our marinara in here, and then I'm going to add the water to this to rinse it out, and that will be the water that we need as well. Now you see I almost filled it up, and I shook it up really good to get all of that pasta sauce out of there. Okay, now we have gotten our diced tomatoes in here. My camera cut off when I was adding those in. Sorry about that. And we are going to change over to this dried ravioli instead, because when I opened my tortellini up, do you see that? Yeah, I'm not happy about that at all. This has a date on it, used by December 1st, and we are not there yet, so Aldi, you're going to be hearing from me. I'm definitely taking that stuff back. Normally, I'm happy with Aldi and their products, but, you know, in these times with groceries, as much as they cost, we can't let that stuff go. Normally, in the past, if something wasn't incredibly expensive, I wouldn't take the time to drive back into town to deal with that, but tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, Friday, we'll be taking care of that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start seasoning our soup here. I'm adding a little bit more garlic salt because this really is not salty at all. So we're getting that in there. We're going to go ahead and add in some of our Italian seasoning, the Parmesan and herb. This has a fairly cheesy taste. If you are interested in this, it's at Sam's Club. We really do like it. But you can use just a simple Italian seasoning if you would like. Or like I said, you can mix it yourself. And if this does not have enough tomato flavor in it for your taste, you can add a couple of tablespoons of your tomato paste of any kind. But I think this is going to be fun for us. So we're about to get our ravioli in here and let it start cooking. Now we have our pasta in here cooking up. I am going to go ahead and add in a little bit of dried minced onion. I always keep these on hand. Sometimes I prefer to use these. And it's starting to get a little bit thick. If it gets too thick, go ahead and add in a little bit more water. I've also added a little bit more Italian seasoning in here. And right when it gets done, or right before it gets done, I'm going to add in some of our cottage cheese. Okay, on our final tasting of the sauce, I added in 1 teaspoon of this Better Than bouillon because it still didn't have enough of a beefy taste. You can leave that out if you want to. It's not necessary, it just depends on your taste. I added a little bit of lemon pepper, just a smidge, and I added in 2 teaspoons of tomato paste. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this up, and we're going to wait on that pasta to get really nice and soft, and then we're going to add in our cottage cheese. Okay, our ravioli has finally become soft, or al dente. So we're gonna go ahead and get some of this cottage cheese in here. Like I said, most people usually use ricotta cheese, and that's fine. Now if you add the ricotta in there, it makes it more of an orange color, which is one of the reasons why I don't use it in here. There's 1 big spoonful, 2 big spoonfuls. We'll get this mixed in. I'm going to add 1 more. Now you don't want to cook this too much after you get the cottage cheese in there. Okay, the soup is finally finished. You can see it's a little bit orange, but it's not as orange as it would be if the ricotta was in there. That's what it looks like. It tastes very much like a lasagna, just in soup form, but the ravioli, or what would the tortellini also would have made it a little bit more special. So we're going to get this plated up. And then we're going to have a nice piece of bread along with this. Okay, we have a little dollop of ricotta on top. I'm going to eat that, get that mixed in here in just a minute. But you can see what this looks like. It's a really nice soup. So, I hope you guys try this. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving Day with a lot of love and a lot of family present. And I love you all, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, friends.